What's up, y'all? This is your boy D Jax on the Drop That Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Laidback TV. Over 10,000 channels, movies on demand, every sports channel, all the HBOs. You can go on laidbacktv.com to see how you can download it on your iPhones, Androids, and your Fire Sticks. And go on Instagram to see how you can give them a shout out on their Instagram at official_laidbacktv, all right? Now, let's get into some motherfucking hip-hop talk. Woohoo! Alright, we're going to have some opinions and we're going to have some rants on this one. This is very interesting. A lot has happened in hip-hop. So let's get one by one out of the way. First off, appreciation. And that will be to the legendary and first lady of Rough Riders. Okay, Rough Riders Entertainment, Rough Rider Records, whatever you want to call it. We talking Eve, EVE. You know what I'm saying? It's the 25th anniversary of her second album, Scorpion. And also, her lead single, first single, Who's That Girl, went gold, which is kind of bullshit. How the fuck you go gold? And that shit released back in 2001. But shout out to her. Who's That Girl is always going to be one of my favorite joints from her. Shout out to her. Legend. You know what I'm saying? I think as far as female MCs of all time lyrically, you know, battle tested, all of that shit, I think she's top 3. Argument for number 1. You know what I'm saying? I can name 3 artists, legendary artists, rather as past, present, and future, as far as women MCs go, who I think Eve can literally annihilate. Maybe not now, but definitely in her prime. Foxy Brown, Little Kim, Nicki Minaj. Okay? If you thought what Remy Ma did to Nicki Minaj was something, you should see Eve. Because in order to be a woman who was signed to Rough Riders, and not only signed to Rough Riders, but look at the artists that you're on the same label with. We talking Dragon. We talking the Locks, you know, that is formed by Jadakiss, Styles P, Chic Luch. You know what I'm saying? And not to mention the legendary, late, great GOAT himself, DMX. Okay? She held her own in that fucking label. What you think? Yeah. So shout out to Eve. Congratulations on that album. 25 years. So 50 Cent. Here we go. So 50 releases No One Told Us What We Were Here For. Apparently it's a Power Origins intro song. It has Max B. There's a rumor that the full song has not only Max B, but it has Eminem, which will be interesting. At first, when you first take a listen to it, it kind of sounds like I don't know. I'm kind of confused. So the song, when you release it, right, it kind of sounds like T.I., a T.I. diss to his family and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like you had your wife eat every box in Atlanta. Sounds interesting. But when he releases the video in AI, he put out a video in AI. He's dissing the Let's Rap About It podcast, which forms as Mano, Jim Jones, Fabulous, and Dave East. Which, I ain't gonna lie, it was actually pretty funny and pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? I think it's interesting. I mean, it was a good chess move by the Let's Rap About It podcast. You took 4 beats. Apparently there were 50 made songs about them, made songs from, and you did freestyles on them. You know, Dave did his one, Jim did his, Mano did his, but Fabulous stole the fucking show because you don't want to fuck with a nigga like Fabulous. Lyrically ability is crazy. But now that 50 put out the fucking video, an AI video, which was very, very incredibly done, with Max B, you know, Max B, who has a past issue with Jim Jones. now it makes you wonder. Now that Fab, Jim, Mano, and Dave put out a freestyle, what else can you do? What is something that we won't expect from you? Because we didn't expect a freestyle with 50's beats dissing him. We didn't expect that. But you damn sure didn't expect an AI video to come out dissing y'all, which was pretty fucking well done. So what can you do is the question. I'm kind of curious. Like, what do you do now? You know, because if you can't figure out what to do, that's a submission. That's a submission dub for 50. Plain simple. Papoose, you know, shout out to Papoose. Lyrical ability is insane. He drops a freestyle on the beat Many Men. Now, kudos to Papoose, because now that you dropped a freestyle, which was better than anybody's diss records. I'm sorry. Yeah, T.I.'s diss record to 50, it sound dope. You know, the first one or two. The rest of them's garbage. King and Damani's records. I mean, King, he just seemed like he's trying to be a rapper, but it doesn't seem like it's working. You know, it's everything. It's not only the bars, it's the lyrical ability, it's the delivery. T.I. has that. But the thing is, I agree. Academics said also, and shout out to Academics, he said that like, you're trying to play it safe. You know, kid gloves. Papoose didn't give a flying fuck. He said first, as soon as he got on the fucking track, fuck Curtis Jack. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with Academics' assessment. And Damani has a dope delivery, interesting bars, but it's like he's still learning. You know what I'm saying? When you have a father as a level of T.I., and T.I. is like, to me, top 3 lyrical artists from the South. Top 3. You know what I'm saying? Top 5 all around. But top 3 lyrical ability is T.I. You know what I mean? He's top 3. I will have to sit down to find out who's one of the other 3, but definitely him and Ludacris definitely falls into that category. But top 5 of all time, you know, in the South, definitely T.I. fits in that category. You know, so you got big shoes to fill. You know, and I don't think that's the kind of world you want to be in. But Papoose, you know, he didn't just drop a 50 diss, but he dropped a video dissing 50. It's like 5 fucking minutes long. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, all these videos that Papoose is releasing, I don't know. We're never gonna deny Pap's pen. You know what I'm saying? Like his pen game, his lyrical ability, yo, the delivery, he's that nigga, you know, 100%. But that's not how you beat 50. Because look at all the lyrical niggas that went at 50. And it did nothing but put money in his fucking pocket. The more lyrical you are, the more you diss him, the more you say his fucking name, it's a wrap. You may not lose, but you didn't win, really, because it didn't kill him. It didn't kill his career. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at, I know Ja was going at it, but, you know, in that war, 51. You know what I'm saying? Numbers speak, you know, the power of numbers is crazy. Fat Joe? Nah. I love the My Fofo joint, you know, that Fat Joe diss 50. I love it. You know, it was a great beat, you know, by Cool and Dre. It was fire. Like, that was a dope-ass record. But lyrical ability, Fat Joe ain't shit without Big Pun's game. You know what I mean? Without Big Pun co-writing something, nah, that ain't it, nigga. Jadakiss slaughtered 50 on Checkmate, and it did nothing. 50 still had the #1 album in the Massacre. It sold 1 million over in the first week. And the record that made them diss him, which was Piggy Bank, and a video behind it, really didn't, you know, it just set off to really talk about 50 over and over again. So, you know, y'all gotta look at it on a strategic level. You're not gonna win. Nobody's going to be like, this is a pretty hyped up video dissing 50 on a freestyle on Many Men. Yeah, 100%. Is anybody going to be thinking about this 6 months from now? Probably not. Is anybody going to be looking at this video 6 months from now? Probably fucking not. Definitely not a year from now. You know what I'm saying? And once 50's, I think 50's done going at the Let's Rap About It podcast. I think maybe T.I. is next, or maybe Papoose is next. But he's gonna make you. Look at Game was lyrically, and look what he tried to do. He tried to destroy 52. GU not the whole fucking campaign. Didn't move 50 not one bit. It may have shut down G Unit Records. It may have taken out all his soldiers and Banks, Yayo, Buck, all of them, but didn't ruin 50. Y'all gotta be more strategic. 50 knows how to be strategic with it. And if y'all don't, y'all fucking just weird. Y'all gotta be smarter than that. You know what I mean? Because y'all moment lasts 15 seconds. The real 15 minutes is what 50's gonna do to you. Moving on. What are we gonna get into? Oh, Kanye West. I ain't fucking calling him Ye. Kanye West is coming back to the States to perform. He's been performing at a lot of different spots, especially Mexico, in stadiums. Holy shit. And their experiences. You know what I'm saying? Kanye is coming to SoFi Stadium April 1st and April 3rd. It is for real, for real. I want to head over there. I don't know if I will be able to, but definitely I want to check that out. Kanye performing at a stadium show, it's kind of crazy. It's one of my bucket lists. You know what I mean? He's a legend. It's personally, I don't think this tour is going to even the amount of hype behind the Bully album. I think this overexceeds it. I don't think Bully album is going to be well talked about like the concerts. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I don't think he should be performing any of the new joints from Bully on these tours, on these concerts in stadiums. You know what I'm saying? Personally, he approves my argument a little bit more when we were talking about the Super Bowl, on the only two people who can really do next year's Super Bowl in a stadium. That's Kanye West and Chris Brown. But terrible history with Jay-Z, so we'll see. Shout out to Rick Ross, who's going to do the 20th anniversary tour of his debut album, Port of Miami. One of my favorite albums from him, probably his top number one album from him that I enjoy the most. My favorite album from him is Port of Miami. My favorite joint from him, nope, it's not Hustlin'. It's not Hustlin'. I think my number one Rick Ross joint of all time is Push It, which is a sample from the Scarface soundtrack song of the movie Push It to the Limit. I love that joint. I love that fucking joint. It's my favorite Rick Ross joint. If I had a number two, I would say Cross That Line featuring Akon. Akon definitely produced the beat. And probably my third would be Prayer. Yeah, Prayer. It was the final track from Port of Miami. So shout out to Rick Ross. That shit's gonna be fire. Hopefully you ain't playing none of the bullshit from later albums. Like anything. I personally say anything after Teflon Don, don't even bother. You know what I'm saying? I would say do the whole album of Port of Miami, or at least the major joints. Trilla, you could do some joints. Deeper Than Rap, do some joints. And Teflon Don, that's it. Everything after that, straight trash. But shout out to him. Let's get into Master P, the legendary Master P of No Limit Records. He was kind of upset because he finally spoke out about what happened at the Verses. Apparently, they're trying to do Verses, the real Verses, in New Orleans at the Superdome. Apparently, they're trying to get that going again because round one of that shit was trash. You know what I'm saying? They did it in Las Vegas. It was only supposed to be for an hour, 20 rounds. We were missing Lil Wayne. On the Cash Money side, we were missing Lil Wayne, but Juvie was there, Fresh, Birdman, BG, No Turk. So we only got half of the Hot Boys. and the big timers. But on the No Limit side, we're missing two big juggernauts on C Murder and Mystical Legends. But we still had Silk the Shocker, we had Fiend, we had Mia X, who stole the show on her end of No Limit. Snoop Dogg made an appearance. Chopper was there, but it only did 12 rounds. You know what I'm saying? It was iconic, but it wasn't to the highest it could be. Apparently, he was pissed because he was tricked by Swiss Beats into doing verses. And then he finds out at the last minute, because everybody was waiting for P to sign, he's finding out there's no Lil Wayne and they're not doing it in New Orleans, which made no fucking sense to him. You know what I'm saying? And he used the example of the Lox versus Dipset was in New York, which is true. But the difference between the Lox and Dipset being at in New York over there at MSG, the difference between that and having two of the most iconic New Orleans labels of all time, No Limit Records and Cash Money Records, being in New Orleans for that, is that there was no real beef, the way my era spoke about beef between the Lox and Dipset. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing like that. There were most iconic groups, yes, in hip hop, but no, they weren't actually beef. No Limit and Cash Money, they had their own projects, you know, Magnolia, shit like that, beefing behind the scenes. And judging by how Birdman was talking at the end, you know what I'm saying, fuck this, fuck that, fucking all Turk and all that shit, has this low-key problem with Lil Wayne, that shit would have been a fucking problem in New Orleans, and shit would have probably went south. And then we would have been like, oh, they ruined it. No, you wanted it in New Orleans, and it couldn't. And when it did happen, you guys are surprised about the outcome. So fuck that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't think we should get that again. The surprise of it and the suspense, the suppress of it, all of that. You know what I mean? Like, the hype's over. The hype is over. It didn't even go 20 rounds. We got what we got. All members of No Limit, all members of Cash Money were not there. So, moment passed. Before we get out of here, we got Lil Yachty. You know, he was over there, I believe, at Apple Music, you know, talking shit about Rapper's Delight. You know, calling it weak, comparing it to lyricism. You know what I'm saying? You know, what hip-hop is and all of that shit. You know, y'all don't know what Rapper's Delight, do your fucking Googles, do your YouTube. It's all over. They said own and own and own and own. People top of it to break it down. I say you own and own and own and own. You know what I'm saying? You know, even Def Squad, Delight. You know, Def Squad, which is Eric Sermon, Redman, Keith Murray. They did, you know, like a new version of it and shit. You know what I mean? The Sugar Hill Gang, they did this shit, the original. And, you know, he's talking about all that jibber jabber shit they were doing back in the days, and then when we do it, we're getting criticized. That's not lyricism, that's hip-hop. All right, before I get the fuck out of here with this, yes, that's not hip-hop, motherfucker. It's not, okay? It's not. When you motherfuckers are mumbling like your mouth is your asshole farting, yeah, that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? At least with Sugar Hill Gang and the remake of it with Def Squad, we understood every fucking word that they were saying. Every goddamn word. Okay? Didn't change. Every word they spoke, we under fucking stood. Y'all bitch ass niggas talking all this fucking jibber jabber where technically you talking about Rapper's Delight, right? Maybe not the Def Squad version, but Rapper's Delight by Sugar Hill Gang. Are you fucking kidding me? It's still being talked about. And that shit was in the early 80s. Still being talked about. What little fucking Yachty joint is going to be talked about fucking 35, 40 years later? Don't worry, I'll wait. Ain't nobody going to be talking about your bullshit. And we don't need any more fucking rappers with the word little in the beginning. That shit is over. It's over. It's done. Just like we don't need no more fucking rap names with the first word, with their first name being Young or Little. Don't need there. You think Bow Wow's calling himself Little Bow Wow? Nah, nigga. Nah, you think Jeezy still calling himself Young Jeezy? Nah, nigga. We grown. You know what I'm saying? And what was it? The only one who got the pass is Lil Wayne. Wheezy. And lyrical ability for compared to Lil Wayne, nigga, you ain't that. And you never fucking will be. Okay? Stop fucking, because without fucking Rappers Delight and Sugar Hill Gang opening the doors for hip hop, the culture, your bitch ass wouldn't even be here. You're using that culture to pretty much benefit your life. As the money you're fucking making with your trash ass shit, that's the money Sugar Hill Gang should have been fucking making. But we open the doors so y'all can fly. The fuck out of here. If we understand what you're saying, nigga, then welcome to hip hop. Till then, shut the fuck up. But I'm your boy Eddie Jackson. This is Drop That Podcast. Make sure y'all subscribe, hit that sub button, comment if you guys don't like what the fuck I said. I'll reply. I dare you. I dare you, because I will reply. Okay? Real heads know what I'm talking about. Alright? Y'all be cool, alright? I'll see you next week for the new episodes, alright? I'm Eddie Jackson, so Drop That Podcast. Peace.